Katrina Johnson from New Sky Consulting, and you're watching the CATS channel, supporting young people with disabilities to live their best and brightest life. And we're talking all things on choosing a post-school support service provider. So you've done your research, you know what it is you're looking for, you know what it is that you want in a service, what type of service you want, and now it's time to explore what's actually out there. Well, for most of us, when we're looking up a service or for a consultation anywhere, we usually go to a directory and we look it up and we find it that way. But trying to find a post-school support service and a disability support service isn't always as easy as that. Finding a post-school service isn't like trying to find an accountant out of the phone book, but there are things and directories out there and ways of finding out about service at your disposal, and that will help you get started on that journey. A good place to start is in your local area, and quite often in places that you are already familiar and linked to. So for example, you could go to your school, and your school would probably have a very good comprehensive list of services in your area that they at least are aware of, that you may start to have a look into. Another one to go to is your local council. Quite often local councils have a disability officer or a community liaison officer who is familiar with local services, not-for-profit charities and mainstream services that provide supports to people with disabilities in their community. So you could start there as well. Another available resource is Another available resource for carers is the Commonwealth Community. Another available resource for carers is the Commonwealth Respite and Care Link services. Now what you can do is you can ring them and you can let them know what area you live in, what services you're looking for, and they quite often can assist you with the list of services in the area and their contact details that they are aware of. And I've provided the numbers and links to that below to help you out. If you're internet savvy and you're used to searching for things on the internet, then go to Google. Start your search there. Simply type in post-school supports for young people living in, or post-school supports for young people with disabilities living in, and put your location down. And that should hopefully give you some leads to start searching. And once you've found one, it can often lead to a few others as well. So Google, great resource. And when you're on the internet and you found them through Google, it's a great way to start finding out more about that service. So you can have a look at their Facebook page, you can have a look at their website, you can even go and have a look, follow them on Twitter, see what it is they're talking about all the time, and you can also follow them on Instagram if they have an Instagram account. And when you're following them and looking at them on things like Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, you're getting a sense of their day-to-day and what they do a little bit more, and a bit more about their personality, which really helps with the fit as well. And their web page. Usually their web pages have a lot of good information as well. Some other ways to get to know more about services is really that a couple of things that are a bit old school, but they really work. And one of the main ones is ring up and try and have a face-to-face interview with them. It's the best way to gauge that fit and what they do, and to ask questions. But you can also talk to people you know about services they used to use, or they are using, or they're looking at using, and get a list going. And once you're aware of a service, why not subscribe to their newsletter? Because then you'll start to get some information directly to you about that service. Of all those things, once you've identified service, my biggest, strongest recommendation is that you organise a face-to-face, sit-down chat, or at least a person-to-person chat on the phone, because that's when you're going to discover the fit. Another thing to note is that when the NDIS comes in, the NDIA will have a register of registered organisations, and they will be able to provide you with a list of agencies and services in your area that deliver the services that have been identified as reasonable and necessary through your NDIS plan. Knowing where to start to look for a service and the best service for you can sometimes be a little tricky. So the best place to start is with what and who you know. Talk to your networks that you already have, and then slowly widen your search and your research to the more general, wider community and to things that you may not already be aware of. And then once you've done that and you've identified and shortlisted services, don't underestimate the value of a face-to-face or person-to-person chat. So, yeah, do that. I'd just like to remind you that at CATS we know how difficult this process can be, and that's why we've developed the free ebook called How to Choose a Post-School Service Support. I've provided the link below, and I invite and welcome you to download that and use that as a guide and a way of getting started on your post-school support service journey. Well, that's all for me from today. And I thank you for joining me, and I hope you join me again next week when I talk again about how to choose a post-school support service, some little tips. Thanks for joining me, and remember, we all deserve to live our best and our brightest lives. Bye for now.